For warfare on the Internet, see cyberwarfare. Electronic warfare is any action involving the use of the electromagnetic spectrum or directed energy to control the spectrum, attack an enemy, or impede enemy assaults via the spectrum. The purpose of electronic warfare is to deny the opponent the advantage of, and ensure friendly unimpeded access to, the M spectrum. EW can be applied from air, sea, land, and space by manned and unmanned systems, and can target humans, communications, radar, or other assets. The electromagnetic environment. Military operations are executed in an information environment increasingly complicated by the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum portion of the information environment is referred to as the electromagnetic environment. The recognized need for military forces to have unimpeded access to and use of the electromagnetic environment creates vulnerabilities and opportunities for electronic warfare in support of military operations. Within the information operations construct, EW is an element of information warfare. More specifically, it is an element of offensive and defensive counter-information. NATO has a different and arguably more encompassing and comprehensive approach to EW. A military committee conceptual document from 2007 recognized the aim as an operational maneuver space and warfighting environment domain. In NATO, EW is considered to be warfare in the aim. NATO has adopted simplified language which parallel those used in the other warfighting environments like maritime, land and airspace. For example, electronic attack is offensive use of M energy. ED is electronic defense and ES electronic surveillance. The use of the traditional NATO EW measures has been retained as they contribute to and support EA, ED and ES. Besides EW, other M operations include ISTAR and SIGINT. Subsequently, NATO has issued EW policy and doctrine and is addressing the other NATO defense lines of development. Electronic warfare applications. Electronic warfare is any military action involving the use of the M spectrum to include directed energy to control the M spectrum or to attack an enemy. This is not limited to radio or radar frequencies but includes IR, visible, ultraviolet, and other less used portions of the M spectrum. This includes self-protection, standoff, and escort jamming, and anti-radiation attacks. EW is a specialized tool that enhances many air and space functions at multiple levels of conflict. The purpose of EW is to deny the opponent an advantage in the M spectrum and ensure friendly unimpeded access to the M spectrum portion of the information environment. EW can be applied from air, sea, land, and space by manned and unmanned systems. EW is employed to support military operations involving various levels of detection, denial, deception, disruption, degradation, protection, and destruction. EW contributes to the success of information operations by using offensive and defensive tactics and techniques in a variety of combinations to shape, disrupt, and exploit adversarial use of the M spectrum while protecting friendly freedom of action in that spectrum. Expanding reliance on the M spectrum increases both the potential and the challenges of EW in information operations. All of the core, supporting, and related information operations capabilities either directly use EW or indirectly benefit from EW. The principal EW activities have been developed over time to exploit the opportunities and vulnerabilities that are inherent in the physics of M energy. Activities used in EW include electro-optical, infrared and radio frequency countermeasures, M compatibility and deception, communications jamming, radar jamming and anti-jamming, electronic masking, probing, reconnaissance, and intelligence, electronic security, EW reprogramming, emission control, spectrum management, and wartime reserve modes. Subdivisions. Electronic warfare includes three major subdivisions: electronic attack, electronic protection, and electronic warfare support. Electronic attack involves the use of M energy, directed energy, or anti-radiation weapons to attack personnel, facilities, or equipment with the intent of degrading, neutralizing, or destroying enemy combat capability. In the case of M-energy, this action is referred to as jamming and can be performed on communications systems or radar systems. Electronic protection. Electronic protection or electronic countermeasures involves actions taken to protect personnel, facilities, and equipment from any effects of friendly or enemy use of the electromagnetic spectrum that degrade, neutralize, or destroy friendly combat capability. Jamming is not part of EP, it is an EA measure. The use of flare rejection logic on an IR missile to counter an adversary unregistered trademark S use of flares is EP. While defensive EA actions and EP both protect personnel, facilities, capabilities, and equipment, EP protects from the effects of EA. Other examples of EP include spread spectrum technologies, use of joint restricted frequency list, emissions control, and low observability or stealth. An electronic warfare self-protection is a suite of countermeasure systems fitted primarily to aircraft for the purpose of protecting the aircraft from weapons fire and can include among others, DISCM, infrared countermeasures, chaff, flare. An electronic warfare tactics range is a practice range which provides for the training of aircrew in electronic warfare. There are two such ranges in Europe. One at RAF Spidedam in the United Kingdom and the Polygon Range in Germany and France. EWTRs are equipped with ground-based equipment to simulate electronic warfare threats that aircrew might encounter on missions. Anti-fragile EW is a step beyond standard EP, occurring when a communications link being jammed actually increases in capability as a result of a jamming attack, although this is only possible under certain circumstances such as reactive forms of jamming. Electronic warfare support. Electronic warfare support is the subdivision of EW involving actions tasked by, or under direct control of, an operational commander to search for, intercept, identify, and locate all localized sources of intentional and unintentional radiated electromagnetic energy for the purpose of immediate threat recognition, targeting, planning, and conduct of future operations. These measures begin with systems designed and operators trained to make electronic intercepts and then classification and analysis broadly known as signals intelligence from such detections to return information and perhaps actionable intelligence to the commander. The overlapping discipline, signals intelligence, is the related process of analyzing and identifying the intercepted frequencies. SIGINT is broken into three categories, ELINT, COMINT, and FISINT. The parameters of intercepted TXM are communication equipment FREQ, bandwidth, modulation, polarization etc. The distinction between intelligence and electronic warfare support is determined by who tasks or controls the collection assets, what they are tasked to provide, and for what purpose they are tasked. Electronic warfare support is achieved by assets tasked or controlled by an operational commander. The purpose of ES tasking is immediate threat recognition, targeting, planning and conduct of future operations, and other tactical actions such as threat avoidance and homing. However, the same assets and resources that are tasked with ES can simultaneously collect intelligence that meets other collection requirements. Where these activities are under the control of an operational commander and being applied for the purpose of situational awareness, threat recognition, or M-targeting, they also serve the purpose of electronic warfare surveillance. See also, directed energy weapon, electromagnetic pulse, electromagnetic interference, electronic harassment, electronic warfare support measures, radar jamming and deception, radio jamming, electronic warfare systems, chaff, digital radio frequency memory, electronic intelligence, radar warning receiver, historic, Battle of Latakia, the first use of deception EW in a naval battle, Battle of the Beams, No. 100 Group RAF, 36th Bombardment Squadron, U.S. Pacific, Association of Old Crows, Electronic Warfare Officer, Fleet Electronic Warfare Center, Joint Functional Component Command for Network Warfare, U.S. Marine Corps Radio Reconnaissance, Historical Electronics Museum, USAR-SHUP, Cyber Operations, further reading, FM 3-36, Electronic Warfare in Operations. Safeguarding Soldiers Through Technology. Fort Leavenworth, U.S. Army Combined Arms Center, February 26, 2009. A Euro PDF, 114p, 4, 5 megabytes. A Euro See also, John Milburn, Army Manual raises emphasis on electronic warfare. Washington Post, February 26, 2009. John Latimer, Deception in War, London, John Murray, 2001, David Adami EW101, A First Course in Electronic Warfare, David Adami EW102, A Second Course in Electronic Warfare, Joint Publication 3-13.1 Electronic Warfare, Ardujozhes, Disturbing Soviet Transmissions in August 1991. Words, Matt Bolton. Photographs, Matt Munro. The Tallinn Cables, A Glimpse into Tallinn. Euro Unregistered Trademark S. Secret History of Espionage. Lonely Planet Magazine, December 2011. References. General references, The Changing Capability of Manpack Electronic Warfare Systems, Electronic Warfare in Operation Desert Storm, Association of Old Crows, Electronic Warfare Jamming Systems, Information Warfare, Information Operations and Electronic Attack on APA, Electronic Warfare Products, Joint Publication 3-13.1 Electronic Warfare, Air Force Instruction on Electronic Warfare Operations,